WorkLifeCyber. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm going to walk you through a few things that you can do to avoid those first day conversation awkwardness. You know, those things where it's like, do you know how to play golf? No? Sure. So how long have you been in the United States? Because of my accent, I get that question a lot. A long time. Oh, okay. And that awkward moment where you don't have anything to say, we are canceling all of that. We are going to practice. Like it's almost important. It's like a second level of interview, your first day, your second day at work, conversation wise, because you can say one stupid thing and you will be tagged with it for the rest of your career at the company you're in. So let's avoid all those awkward moments and do this thing before you go to work, your first day at work. Please research. Read about the company you're going to work for. How do you go there and ask, so what do we do around here? No, that question should never come out of your mouth. If you're working for a hospital, research. No, oh, they have 3 branches. Don't go there and say, how many branches do we have in this company? Something that's free on Google in 2023, you shouldn't be asking for it. Okay, let me take my words back. Some basic information, because some things are a lie on Google, right? So basic information like the address of the company, that unless you're saying, oh, which address do you want me to come with because they have so many branches, or which location, those are nice questions. But if you go and you say, where are you located again? Excuse me, what does this company do? No. You should know these basic things, and your sentences should be, oh, I read that, I reviewed and saw that, I referenced, I did this, referencing this. Go do all these things to let them, even if you don't know what you're doing, you sound smarter when you say what you know and then ask questions about based on how you read it and things like that. Don't go and stand there and embarrass all of us by asking really basic. There's no such thing as dumb question. That one I don't believe in. But basic questions, please don't do that. That being said, your first day at work, I want you to research your company, research the department by checking LinkedIn to see if the company is there and checking to see if there's a group. Because like I know my former company that I work with, they had a group chat in LinkedIn or group, whatever it is, that you could see everything. When they gave me the offer, they actually just added me to it before I actually started work, which helped because now, by the time I got there was no awkwardness. I felt like I knew all of them already. But my second and this job I'm in, it wasn't like that. But I still went on LinkedIn to type in, because some of them I have their full names based on emails, even the offer letter. I went online and checked them on LinkedIn. They will probably see, because I don't have LinkedIn Premium or whatever that thing is, Superstar. And I went on LinkedIn, so they probably saw that I Googled them. It's okay. I don't mind them seeing that I am researching them. It's actually a good thing, right? So I went on LinkedIn, checked on my boss, checked on my boss's boss, checked on one other colleague. They were the only ones that were on LinkedIn. The others later I actually found out they were on LinkedIn too with different names. One of them was, I almost said his name. One of them had abbreviated his name on LinkedIn, so I found out later. But just by knowing all these things, jot down. Don't even just make a mental note. Jot on now there are so many apps, in your notepad, whatever, some specific questions you want to ask them based on their LinkedIn. Oh, I see that you have CISSP. How was the experience? I'm really looking into it. You're not looking. Actually, you should look into it. Don't lie, because sometimes it will come back and bite you. But so jot down some questions that you want to ask them. Let's say you go on LinkedIn and you see that your boss actually has a lot of certifications. Write down some questions you're going to ask. Questions like, oh, I see that you have a lot of certifications, and don't make it too robotic. when it flows, if maybe it gets awkward, you can slide certain questions in. Then you say, oh, I am really intrigued by all your certifications. I'm looking into it. I only have two. They already know, but still, I only have two, or I only have one, or I don't have any certifications, and I am really daunted by the whole process. So, can you just walk me through? How do you do it? Do you go by the study materials? Do you go by questions? This question I actually asked it, and my boss was more than glad to give me pointers, the materials, where to do this. It was fantastic. These people, your leaders and the people you're working with, they want to help. Not everybody is here to get you. Not everybody is here to bite you and fight with you. And nobody does that. And if they do, rise up to the occasion and fight back. But that's one thing I want you to do. Research. If they don't have LinkedIn's, go to the company website. If they don't have LinkedIn, then that part is zero. You can't have any personal questions to ask them, right? Like one of them, I saw that he posted his children, and we started talking about kids. This is not an interview, so you don't have to be too formal. Like this job I'm in, we had lunch with the team members, just introductory lunch where we all sat somewhere. And if you are not prepared, it can get very awkward where everybody is like eating and trying not to. It gets awkward, but always have something to say, okay? So that the silence can be very awkward, and sometimes if the people are myopic, or if there's anyone, they will think your silence is actually meaning you don't have any, you're not smart, right? So that's also another level, their own problem. Silence does not mean you're an idiot at all. I'm just saying, for your first day, it gets awkward very quickly, that you should always have something sensible to say. Now, another thing too you can do is literally Google conversations, introductory conversation, professional conversations. Pick 2 or 3, write it down so you don't forget. But right before, get to work early and go over them in your head and let the conversation flow naturally. Let's say you go online and you see that the bullet points, I probably should have just type in initial professional conversation, professional icebreakers, things like that. You get so many of them. Another thing I want you to do is that you go back to the job description. If you don't have access to it, that's fine. Google any job description with the position they've offered you. If they offered you cybersecurity, senior cybersecurity analyst, senior supervisor of cybersecurity department, whatever, Google it and see what they do, and see which ones that you don't have any familiarity with, and use that to be your talking points. This way, you go the first day, they do the introduction, they walk you through the kitchen, the bathroom, the staircase, where to jump if there's a fire, where to run, who to call for help. Another thing, I'll come back to this one. If they don't tell you, you ask this question, and that alone can take half of the day. Who should I call if I have this problem? If I need contact information, who should I call? If the computer goes down, what should I do? Do I need to create a ticket? All these things you will probably know on your first day anyway. But to avoid awkwardness, this video is just to avoid awkwardness. You can ask this to fill in, right? I'm giving you a couple of icebreakers. But when you go your first day, be ready to ask questions about, they have hired you. So asking them, hey, how do you do? There are 2 ways to ask the same question about your role. You should not say, how do you do risk assessment, for instance? Say, hey, in my previous roles, we did risk assessment through ACHA, whatever, through a GRC too. If you can't remember what you use, you should remember. Go over all these before you go to work on your first day. And if it's an entry level and you don't have any experience, then you don't even need this conversation. You just ask and ask and ask. How do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? They'll be more than willing to teach you. But if you have experience, but you're uncomfortable bringing your experience to your new company, which can be, imposter syndrome, right? Because you don't want to be the girl who's saying, this is wrong. The way I did it, it worked for me in my previous role. Why are you guys doing so many steps? You don't want to be an arrogant shrew. You just want to say, we did this and this way in my previous role. You don't have to even be specific. Oh, we did it differently in my previous role. Can you walk me through it? Can I schedule a meeting for you to walk me through your risk assessment process? How do you take surveys here? How do you do vendor risk assessment? Do you go into the system? What are the first steps in this company? Okay, can you walk me? Hey, can I schedule a meeting for you to walk me through your processes? They will be more me. Any new person that has come after me, if they tell me this thing, and I actually got this from my previous roles, where one of them just called me, a new lady called me and said, hey, can I schedule a meeting for you to walk me through what you do? She didn't even say walk me through with specific whatever. She said, walk me through what you do. I appreciated her so much, and I did walk her through everything I do. This role that I'm in, my manager called all of us and said, oh, we have a new girl. I want you all to schedule a meeting with her and walk her through what you do. So it's very acceptable. Schedule these meetings, because another thing too is your first week, you can literally be sitting down like this doing nothing, waiting for someone to finish all the many things they have to do on their plate and then come and train you. You don't want that. You don't want to look aimless on your first week. So this will be a perfect, very useful way to make use of all the downtimes you have, right? So, and it will also be regarded as you being proactive. And that's a good thing, a good first impression for years to come, promotion opportunities. Believe me, you would think, 10 years down the road, they won't remember. The impression you make on their minds stays. So you schedule a couple of meetings on your first week, and you can talk with your boss and say, hey, I want to schedule a few meetings with everyone and know what they're doing. And he will give you direction. He will give you a list of people to go through. And if he doesn't, go Teams. Usually most companies use Teams. If they don't use Teams, maybe Zoom. But most of the companies I've worked with use Teams. Teams, there's chances that he will include you to a group chat, the department chat. And then you can look at all of them and start emailing them privately. Hi, my name is this. Or by the second, third day, they should know a new girl or boy is around, right? So you schedule these meetings and you tell them, can you walk me through? And whilst they are walking you through it, do not go and be tuned out. Write notes, have follow-up questions, that if you schedule a 1-hour meeting or a 30-minute meeting and you don't use all that 30 minutes, you go and your notes, you reread it, you practice if they showed you any procedure, you practice it, and then you can schedule another meeting because maybe they are showing you how to do the risk register. You used Archer in your previous one. Now they are using Onspring. So things are going to be different. Same concept, but different, the way they save the information, the folders, everything. So they are showing you, you're making notes. Once that 30 minutes or 1 hour is done, you go back, you practice right away. Don't wait till 3 months to now come and disturb their peace again. You practice right away, and that will also help you in your downtimes. Your first days, you're going to have a couple of awkward downtimes where you're there, you go to your boss and say, oh, is there anything else? I just finished creating all the folders. Is there anything else? Especially if you are entry level. If you're not entry level, you probably already have a host of things you want to ask anyway, or you want to set up in the system anyway. So that can keep you occupied. And if you don't, then another thing, I'm sure someone is thinking, oh, I'm working remote. It's okay if I don't have anything to do. I'll take a nap. No, that first week, they're going to give you a few things. They're going to tell you, oh, read around, get familiar with the system. You cannot get familiar with the system you've never been in. So again, this week, you will be able to impress your boss by saying, oh, I scheduled a meeting with Mr. Kukura Antumi and said, And he took me through it, so I know where all the folders are. We did that meeting. I'm going to use the rest of the week to actually go over everything. Yes, the rest of the week. Sometimes, because you don't know the system, so it's going to take you longer to go through everything. Even though they've shown you, it's going to take you longer to get familiarized with it. And then when I finished with Mr. Kukurantumi, I called the guy from Mike from networking to walk me through how they relate with us or what he's doing. And I have a couple of things that I need to review and go over. Doesn't this sound like you are a serious human being? Yeah, if you are a boss and someone in their first week, second week, first month is telling you, yes, it takes a long time. First month is already telling you, I scheduled a meeting to get to know what everybody is doing. That's if the manager doesn't do it himself, where he tells you to schedule the meetings. But imagine you do this on your own. You will be respected. So that's it. And then so these things will help you avoid all the awkwardness. And another thing too that you should do is be genuinely interested in your colleagues. Because it's your first day, they're probably going to start asking you questions and then telling you about themselves. Don't let them now come and say, I've been working here 8 years. And then only 3 seconds down the conversation, you're like, how long have you been working here again? I know. First day, first week, first month, it gets very intense. You can't even remember people's name. If you're on remote work, have a pencil. They can see you. Even if it's video, you can be typing because they know you'll be taking notes and things like that. You just open your notepad. Oh, someone says, John, thank God, with Teams, you will know their full name. But John, I know a few things about everybody on a notepad on my work computer. I know, okay, this one has 2 children. This one has 3 girls. This one, this one, all her kids are gone. You don't think it's important. I am genuinely interested. So conversations are never awkward. Those awkward conversations where they are never, because I don't remember things. You can tell me your name right now. I take 2 steps and I'm like, I can't remember again. So I accepted my weakness and started writing everything down. The day I leave this company, they will scan through it and be like, my Lord and my God. But I am saying this, be genuinely interested in your colleagues, okay? And let the conversation flow. When you're at lunch and they ask you, tell me about yourself, that time is not the time to talk about your previous roles and, I am from Africa. I feel like that's my most prized possession, and I start all my conversations with it because it always leads to long conversations. There's no awkwardness. I joke through it and we talk and things. They have so many questions. People are smart and they really want to know about other cultures. So say things like, so I always start with, I am from Africa. We've been here a couple of times. My dad moved here. We followed him and came to school here. I started working as an accountant and then got married, moved. Now I tell them, you don't have to tell them about your children. I tell them about my children. Then everyone started pulling out their phones to show me their kids. It's so much fun. I have never, I have my very, very first work as an accountant. It was awkward that whole week. I didn't know what to say. I was an African who has come sitting on the table with everybody. I don't even eat in front of people. So that was awkward. But after that, I told myself this will never happen again. Every lunch, it seems like, we're just going to sit and eat. No, when they say we're taking you for lunch, they mean so that we can know you outside of work. They've seen your resume. They've seen you, they've read your history, and they've hired you for this thing that they're going to train you later on. But now they want to know you as who you are. They want to know whether you are married or not, whether you're single, whether you're done with school. That one, they don't talk about that. Whether you live by yourself, whether you live close by, whether this is your first job, whether you love people, whether you love pets. Do you have any hobbies? Usually they ask me about hobbies. I don't really have hobbies. So I say cooking. And you know why? I do love cooking because I have a big family and I'm always cooking. So I might as well love it, right? Yeah, and I do a lot of experiments. So one of them said, what are some of your hobbies? And I'm like, I love cooking. And then he's like, what do you make? And I talked about African food. I explained to them that, our food. Not that I love staying in the kitchen, but to make one thing, these things break the ice without. And then for all you know, you've made friends. Remember, you're spending 8 hours with these people or more with these people, right? So you might as well love them. Be the light in your team. Be the light in the company. Don't join the people who are saying, don't kill yourself for this fun. No, the company is paying you. You should kill yourself. And in Africa, when we say kill yourself, we basically mean don't work at all. Don't do anything. Don't do much. So I'm not talking about literal killing. I'm talking about don't work too hard for this company. No, work hard for the company. Love it. And yes, people will say, discourage you and say, hey, the big money goes to the leaders. African mentality. That's why we are how we are. Work very hard and genuinely, when it's time to leave, let's say you realize this company is a very selfish, stingy company, and it's time to leave, you pack your things, you apply to another job, and you leave. You know why? You leave nicely. You give in your resignation letter, and you leave. You tell your boss, no matter how bad the company is, you tell your boss and you leave. You know why? I know so many people who left a company and came right back after 2-3 months. So you just don't know. You think this company is bad, so you're going somewhere else. Within a week, you're like, I want to go back. So imagine you leave, you don't leave properly, right? And then, where I used to work before I came here, my boss told me, whenever you want to come back, our doors are open. Can you imagine this? Isn't this nice? Whenever, that was actually, my boss is no longer, my former boss is no longer there, but he's like, anytime you want to come back, just a phone call away, and your position is yours again. That's a good feeling. Work hard for, you don't die by working hard though. Your brain, it keeps you young. If I tell you my age now, okay, but if you think I'm 27, we'll keep it like that. Anyway, I joke, but please avoid those awkward downtimes on your first day, your first week, by actually preparing your mind for asking intelligent questions, one, and also by being genuinely interested in what they are saying. Your boss may casually, your manager may casually say, oh, let's go grab lunch so I will get used to you, I'll get to know you better. But when we come back, we are going to go through all the risk assessment. Let that be, know that after lunch, you're going, even though he said it casually, after lunch, ask him, oh, you said you wanted us to go through the risk assessment. Can we do it now, or do you want to reschedule for later? So that he knows you were paying attention. Even though he said it casually, he may not even remember that he said it, which is another point. If he doesn't remember that he said it, you have lost the training moment. So you better remember and remind him of it. I hope this makes sense. The main goal is that you make the most of your first week, your first days at work, okay? Because after say 6-7 weeks, they won't consider you as a new girl, new guy anymore. They will start throwing things at you. So this is the time to ask all the questions. They love questions. Nobody is going to say, oh, but you said you have experience. How come you don't know these things? Everybody, if you've worked anywhere before, you know that companies are so different. It's ridiculous. Where I used to work, I was security analyst. Anywhere else, if you're a security analyst, you are actually a cybersecurity analyst doing coding, scripting, and really resolving and stopping malware and things. No, but I was a compliance analyst actually. But they called me security analyst. Here, I won't tell you what I am, but I'm just saying that to say, always ask questions. And always be clear that, no, we did it differently somewhere, so I want to learn. Be ready to learn. Don't go with the mind of, I have 6 years experience, so let me show you. No. Every company is different. Yes, contribute with your experience. You can give subject matter advice. To the concept, not the procedure, because some procedure, and if you have suggestions, give it without being arrogant. Just say, oh, we did it this way. Maybe it will work here. Always give room to fall, cushion yourself. Don't just come and then when you're falling, there's no place to fall, and then you're just hanging in the middle. It's just awkward. It's either you're falling or you're standing. I don't know what that means, but yeah. Thank you for stopping by. I wish you all the best on your journey to finding a new job or switching to a new job or getting into cybersecurity. And I hope that if you have had an offer letter that your first week will not be awkward. That introductory lunch, that get to know you lunch, that you sit at the dinner table with 6, 7 other team members, don't let it get awkward. And right before I finish, when they ask you a question, do not answer with yes or no and great and for 3 one-letter words. It just says, don't ask me any other question again. Because when they say, do you have kids? And you say, yes, the conversation has ended. So when they say, do you have kids? Say, yes, I do. I have 3 of them. One of them is in this. One of them is here. One of them is here. Without giving maybe too much detailed information if you don't want to. But basic things like that. Because if you let it end by saying yes, then they're looking at you like, oh, now I have to think of another question because this one's done. They have also prepared their questions for you. So, yeah. So another thing I will say is that if they ask you, say, oh, do you have kids? Yes, I have 2. 1 boy, 1 girl. The boy is 3 years old. The girl is, and they're always fighting. Say something fun, a fun fact. If you don't want to say their ages, don't say it. And then, yeah. And oh my God, the one is into, that will take a whole 5 minutes away. By that time, they've eaten not half of their food. Well, if they're guys, they probably are done with the food. But they've eaten half of the food already, right? Because once it gets quiet, it has happened to me before in my very, very, very first one. Once it gets quiet, it's so awkward. And believe me, they're all thinking, oh, what other question? What other question? Because they probably came with 3 questions in their mind to ask, but you answered them with 1 sentence. So it took 3 seconds. So we are done. Now they don't have anything to say. And then it will almost look like you're not friendly, but you're very friendly, So I hope this video has helped a little bit to avoid all those awkward downtimes on your first days at work. And please comment and let me know if there are any things you do differently on your first days to avoid awkward moments. Let me know whether it's funny, or share your awkward moments and let's all laugh together. This whole journey can be stressful. You can share your awkward moments and then we will all take pleasure in laughing at you. With you. All right. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.